So these days I see a lot of producers trying to overcomplicate their beats, and I just want to show you guys that it's actually quite easy to make a beat in 2024. You have all the resources, you have a lot of free plugins and stuff like that to just help you streamline your process. So I'm going to show you guys different ways to arrange your beats, and at the end I'll show you 3 different plugins to help you mix your beats. So in terms of the arrangement, one of the things that I'd always say is you always have to listen to the type of beat that you're making and listen to how they arrange it. So for instance, I've got an NEMS type beat channel and I upload a load of NEMS type beats on there, and for NEMS type beats they're actually quite short in terms of intros. So for instance, if you listen to a song like ETA by NEMS, the usual length is about 4 to 8 bars before the beat comes in, whereas if you listen to an artist like Rod Wave, the intros are usually around 30 to 40 seconds just because the melodic components are a bit more important than the drums themselves. So I'll show you an example of an arrangement here. So I've got this trap beat which is more of like a freestyle beat using this Scotty C loop, so if you want to go check out his loops, these are actually quite nice. So it's a little gospel thing here. And because it's a freestyle beat, obviously the drums just come straight in. There's not really any kind of variations and stuff because it's meant to just flow, meant to just let the artist do their thing on it. The actual idea of an arrangement in music is to make sure that you've got different parts that are clearly defined in the song. So in pop music, usually you have chorus, pre-chorus, bridges, verses obviously. You'll have those 4 main components. In rap music it's a bit different, so you'll have what are called hooks, pre-hooks, obviously you'll have verses. And here I've got a pain beat and I'll show you guys what this is structured. So obviously as you can see here, we start off with an 8 bar, just kind of playing the original melody, then the melody starts to define itself properly with sub basses and other kind of pads, elements like that. And then when you go into the actual beat, as you can see here, you've got kind of more drums. You go into the verse here and then you've got less drums, so obviously we take out a kick. Usually kicks are taken out in verses just to kind of take away the energy, so that the energy can then be brought straight back in when you go into the hooks. And then as you can see here, this is what you call a pre-hook. So I like to make a 16 bar hooks, an 8 bar verse, and then an 8 bar pre-chorus. As you can see, I'll bring the sub bass back in just to show that there is something that's about to happen. So people structure their beats differently. So as you can see, I've got a 16 bar hook, 8 bar verse, 8 bar pre-hook. Other people might do a different thing, so they'll just literally have an 8 bar hook and an 8 bar verse, and then it goes straight into the beat after that. Now some other things that I like to do on my beats, as you can see, this is one of my beats from my YouTube channel, my NEMS type beat channel, and as you can see, I've added some sort of automation here. If you're not sure what automation is, it's basically, if you look at a mixing desk, they have the little kind of turning knobs and stuff. It's basically the way to kind of code it so that automatically does it itself without you having to press anything. So as you can see here, I've automated Portal, and when I go to track 3, which is where this Portal is based, as you can see the mix level, this knob here, which usually is at 100%, this one's at 0% at the moment, and when you play the beat, you slowly see that one go up. In terms of transitions, I like to keep it quite simple. I don't like to add too many kind of different elements, just because of the way that these beats are based. They're not too complicated. As you can see, I've literally just added a clap, just goes into the beat. But obviously you can use things such as drums fills, so I've got a drum fill here that I use quite a lot as well. And yeah, sometimes you don't even have to do something like that. You can literally just go into the project, do that, and then that basically adds a little pause, which kind of gives it more energy when it does come back in. So as you can tell, there's a lot of different ways to make stuff sound unique. These are just the most common ones that I use. And again, it goes back to the point I made earlier, where the type beat actually does dictate how you make all of these adjustments. So in a NEMS track, you'll notice that obviously the lyricism of NEMS is more important than the actual beat itself. So the beat doesn't have to be too complicated. Whereas if you're making something for Travis Scott or Yeat or something like that, obviously they'll be a lot more complex because their production is based off of just making a load of sounds. Travis Scott has his own kind of unique vocals that he adds onto it as well. Basically what I'm saying is, if you're making an NEMS type beat, you don't have to add too much stuff onto it. But anyways, personal choice aside, we're going to go on to how to mix beats, and I'm going to show you guys 3 plugins which are all technically free. And the first one I'm going to show you guys is the Fruity Soft Clipper.
Let me land, OG, let me land.
Literally all you have to do is load it up, usually put it on the end of your master chain, put these settings on it. This I think is just default. Just make sure it hits around 0, but don't go over, because then you'll start hearing clipping sounds. The next effect I want to show you guys is a compressor. As you can see, I'm using the LA2A here, which was free at one point. I'm going to show you the difference between using it on master and not using it on your master, because I personally don't think you should add it on your master track. Some people might do just because they can mix their beats in that way. But here's the difference in sound. And as you can tell, there is a difference. So the elements that are loudest, the kicks and the 808s, are the ones that are being compressed, which is why I'd say obviously you don't need to add this on, because if you're trying to have hard hitting drums, you don't necessarily want a compressor kind of diminishing those sounds. And then there's a bit of producer source that's kind of known but kind of not known, Fresh Air by Slate Digital. This one I've used recently quite a lot just because it's so good for especially high end. But what this essentially is it's kind of like an exciter. It just adds a bit more sparkle to the high end. You can kind of hear that difference in audio. And again, this one is completely free. If you just go onto Slate Digital's website, download it, you can get this one completely free, and it's just such a good tool for what it is. And I personally think if you're mixing and mastering, this is a must-have plugin just because it's so simple to use and it's just so effective for stuff like this. And yeah, so I think I've covered everything for this video. If you enjoyed this one, let me know down below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you never miss the next upload. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you in a bit.